We've been taught that success is linear. Set a goal, make a plan, take consistent action, and you'll get results. But if that were true, why would 90% of people fail? Are they all just lazy, lacking willpower, or uncommitted? I'm Dr. Irene Kopp with dual doctorates in both Eastern and Western medicine spanning over 30 years. Your subconscious mind is devious. It doesn't argue with your goals directly. Instead, it creates seemingly legitimate reasons why you can't follow through right now. This same cycle affects your practice growth, your personal goals, and your professional development. Understanding it changes everything. Why 90% of people fail. The hidden cycle of change. Did you know that over 90% of people fail to achieve their goals in any area of life? That's not just my opinion. It's backed by research across multiple domains. But why? Is humanity really that unmotivated or lacking in willpower? As health professionals, this statistic affects us twice. Once in our own goals, and then again when we try to help our patients achieve theirs. What if I told you there's a hidden pattern behind this massive failure rate? One that medical school never taught you about, but that explains everything from patients not committing to your care in the first place, to not following through with your amazing recommendations, to practice plateaus and even your personal life goals. We've been taught that success is linear. Set a goal, make a plan, take consistent action, and you'll get results. But if that were true, why would 90% of people fail? Are they all just lazy, lacking willpower, or uncommitted? Think about how we often judge ourselves and our patients when goals aren't met. We use words like non-compliant for patients and procrastination or self-sabotage for ourselves. I heard one doctor even yell at a patient going, "What, have you got rocks in your head? Do you really want to die?" Consider weight loss. A patient comes to you motivated to make changes. You create the perfect plan based on your expertise. They start strong and then mysteriously stop following your recommendations. You're frustrated, they're ashamed, and nobody understands what's really happened. Just look at the Ozempic phenomenon. People turning to expensive and dangerous medications because they don't understand the real reason their past attempts failed. And what if I told you that self-sabotage isn't a character flaw, but a neurobiological response to change, even positive change? You see, there's a hidden pattern that operates across life. It's like gravity. You can't escape it. It's called the cycle of change. And that explains why even the most motivated people fail to follow through. And it has nothing to do with willpower or knowledge. When I first discovered the cycle of change from a mentor, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I realized I wasn't a failure or fundamentally flawed. For years, I'd been setting ambitious goals, starting strong, and then mysteriously finding myself unable to follow through. I'd beat myself up, thinking I just needed more discipline or motivation. What I learned was that my subconscious mind was actually doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect me from change, which it perceives as potentially dangerous. For instance, I worked with a client named Lance, who had struggled with weight loss for decades. He couldn't lose weight to save his life. And at over 300 pounds, he was in such severe pain that doctors recommended bilateral hip replacements, even though he was under the age of 50. That wasn't all. What hurt Lance the most wasn't just the physical pain. It was feeling like a failure as a husband and as a father. When his daughter moved into her college dorm, he couldn't help her carry her boxes because he was in a wheelchair himself most of the time. He had to ask friends to do it, which just devastated him. However, after working with him to understand the cycle of change and how to navigate it using our tools, Lance lost over 125 pounds and kept it off. The following year, he proudly carried his daughter's boxes up to her second floor dorm room. I also worked with a physician who continually started practice improvement initiatives that would mysteriously stall. Once we identified the cycle of change and how it was affecting her, she was able to implement systems that not only grew her practice, but also allowed her to take her first real vacation in 5 years. You see, the cycle of change isn't just a theory. It's a neurobiological reality that affects every human being, including you and your patients. Your subconscious mind, what controls about 99% of your actions and decisions, has one primary goal: to maintain the status quo and keep you safe. This made perfect sense for our ancestors when change often meant danger. But in today's world, this protective mechanism often prevents positive growth. For instance, in the first phase, I like to call it the honeymoon phase, or maybe more technically, uninformed optimism. You're excited about change and confident about success because you don't know what you don't know. And then phase 2, where you get walloped upside the head with reality of, oh, this is harder than I thought it would be. These challenges are bigger than I thought. And here is also the place where your subconscious mind does its damnedest to sabotage your best efforts. This is the crisis. This is the point where people either keep slogging through or give up. It's when you are in this second phase that I lovingly call the valley of fear, where your subconscious mind is really, really messing with you. It will do whatever it takes to derail you, and it can feel like you are drowning in the Marianas Trench of despair. This is the time where you are most tempted to just give up and go, it's not worth it. And if you manage to be one of those less than 10% that make it through the valley of fear without drowning in the Marianas Trench of despair, you hit the phase called the shift, where you know it's hard, but you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you got your second wind, so you keep going, one foot in front of the other, maybe dragging yourself out of the valley of fear. Here's the thing about the shift. It's transitional. You either must keep going, or you're going to slide back down into the valley of fear. And then guess what you're going to do? Give up. Like I said, these two phases, the valley of fear and the shift, phases 2 and 3 of the cycle of change, are where over 90% of people fail to reach their goals. Again, not because of laziness, but because their subconscious mind creates incredibly convincing reasons to abandon the change that you consciously want. Your subconscious mind is devious. It doesn't argue with your goals directly. Instead, it creates seemingly legitimate reasons why you can't follow through right now. Have you ever heard this maybe coming out of your mouth or your patient's? I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. One cookie won't hurt. When your patients suddenly stop following your recommendations, it's not because they don't value their health or your expertise. It's because they've hit this valley of fear in the cycle of change, and their subconscious has activated powerful protective mechanisms. As health professionals, we're taught to focus on knowledge and behavior, but we're rarely taught how to help patients navigate this neurobiological reality. And here's what's fascinating. This same cycle affects your practice growth, your personal goals, and your professional development. Understanding it changes everything. The good news is that you're going to learn how to move beyond the valley of fear, beyond the shift to the final stage of mastery, where your subconscious mind goes, oh, so you're really serious about this. Okay, just put that over onto my shoulders and I'll add it to everything else that I do for you, like keeping your heart beating and you breathing and moving without you having to think about it. That is the hope. And it's the reality for all of our clients who have worked with us to navigate the cycle of change. So now you understand why over 90% of people fail to achieve their goals, and it has nothing to do with motivation, knowledge, or willpower. More importantly, you now have a framework for understanding why your patients struggle to follow through with your recommendations and why you sometimes find yourself stuck despite your best intentions. This is just the first piece in the puzzle. In my next video, I'll be talking about pathological imposter syndrome, the hidden condition that affects high achievers like you more than anyone else. So if you've experienced the frustration of setting goals and not following through, or watching your patients do the same, share your thoughts in the comments. Understanding the cycle of change isn't just another strategy. It's a fundamental shift in how you view human behavior, including your own. With this understanding, you can begin to flip that 90% failure rate on its head, transforming not only your practice, but the lives of every patient you touch. This is where transformation becomes not just possible, but predictable.